Welcome back. My name is Candace Sanderson, and I want to thank you for joining me. I am sharing with you an experience from mid December 2015 when I attended a meditation where I live in Naples, Florida. It was led by Reverend Michelle Love. At the time of the event, I had been channeling a little over 2 years, and I was accustomed to hearing daily, sometimes more than once a day, from the messengers. From the outside looking in, my pragmatic life as a psychologist appeared to be the same, but it was not at all. Although I certainly abided by all the rules and guidelines dictated by my career as a psychologist, I had a new skill set. But I did not share these changes with everyone, only my close friends and family. My connections to the 5D had expanded. For example, my dream life, it was so exciting. Sometimes I would be attending classes during my dreams. I would be having lucid dreams. Sometimes I would receive downloads of information from my angels and guides during the dream state. My awakened life was certainly that, much more awakened. As information flowed into my awareness, and as usual, most of that came in dictation format, but something changed. All of a sudden, I was having visions along with the messages. Now, visualization has never been a strong skill for me. In fact, I had no skill in it whatsoever. So when these visions came, I was very surprised. I was even more surprised to learn that I could actually interact within these visions. I did not discover this in real time. It was only later when I went back and read older journal entries that I learned some of these little tricks. Later, I learned to do this in real time as I had the vision, but not initially. But I learned to take control of the vision. It was similar to a lucid dream where you become awake during the dream and you take control. The only difference is I was awake. When I realized I could revisit these visions and manipulate them, it brought me so many questions. How could I go back, sometimes months before, and then be able to change what had happened then? Going back in time? That didn't make sense. But then I remembered the lessons the messengers had given me about time. Time is a construct. It is an invention of the 3D for use in the 3D. Time does not operate in the 5D like it does in our day-to-day life. So when I would revisit these visions, I discovered I could make adjustments. It was like using a DVR. I could pause these internal videos. I could rewind. I could zoom in to see details as well as zooming back to see more of the landscape. For example, if I had a vision where I was walking and I came to a fork in the road, I could now take the other path instead of the one that I initially had taken. Or better yet, I could simply zoom back and see where that path might lead before choosing to even go on that route. In my training as a psychologist, I learned hypnosis. When someone is in a very relaxed hypnotic state, you can encourage them to revisit past events, perhaps events that were traumatic, and then allow them to relive that event from a safer point of view. That's the type of control that I had over these visions. It was a lot like hypnosis. I've spoken to many people who say they cannot visualize. And if you fall into that group, no worries. I was the chapter leader of that group, but my visualization skills eventually came on board. In fact, it kind of fell into my lap without me even trying. You see, I've kept a journal of my messages, and I discovered once when I went back to review some of the older entries, I realized, oh my goodness, there's a visual component that accompanied the message. It had always been there, but it was so faint when I received the message that I didn't even recognize it. I didn't realize it was there. When I realized this, I became curious. So I started reading more journal entries, and lo and behold, the very same thing happened. There were pictures in the background. Sometimes they were still shots, still pictures. Other times they were more complex and they looked more like movies. Over time and over many trips into the non-physical realms of the 5D, things became apparent that were not before. And it's not that they weren't there, I just was not able to recognize them. Let me get to the mid-December 2015 event that I'm sharing. I had only attended this meditation a few times before. It was a small, intimate group of 6 or 7 people, led by Reverend Michelle Love. Except for me, the others had been meeting frequently, and it was clear that they were friends. I was the newbie, the odd person out. I could say more about that, being the odd one, but I'm just going to let that slide. As we were sitting in a circle when the meditation began, I saw a white light come in from above, and it directly connected each person's crown chakra. And then a message came. It is the beginning of the connection to the spirit, to the energy vibrations of spirit. Let's dig into the details of this. This light seemed to be in a thick liquid form. It slowly poured in the circle from above. It reminded me of molasses on a cold day, the way it just inched its way down. It was in the shape of a column or a shaft of light until it was just above our heads. And at that point, it split and entered the top of each person's head, entering through their crown chakras. I saw it move through the inside of each person, moving through our heads, into our throats, and then our heart chakras. When it reached our heart chakras, this thick light began to pulse. It was a blanket over our heart, opening us, opening our heart chakras. I could see this as well as experience it as it moved through me. I intuitively knew that this liquid light was establishing an energy frequency that was specific to each person. It was attuning our individual frequencies to its vibration, the vibrations of spirit. I also knew that entrainment was occurring. Our hearts were synchronizing to this rhythm from source. It's as if all of us became one big heart, beating as one. In real time, I watched the light. It changed. It was no longer looking like a thick liquid, but it became subtler, with not much form. It reminded me of a mist, but there was a little more form to it than that. And it also had kind of an elastic, stretchy quality. This energy, which is still around our hearts, begins to pull from the center of each person's chest. As it pulls, I feel the soles of my feet tingle, and I feel the energy moving up from the earth through my feet, through my legs, through my abdomen, and into the heart. And I realize I am connected not only to above, but also from below. So I am seeing this as the observer, but I am also feeling this as a participant. As this energy comes in and pulls from the center of us, it collects in the middle of the circle where the light had initially entered. Then this stretchy mist starts to take on more form. Soon afterwards, within a few seconds, it forms a beautiful iridescent orb of light in the very center of the room. It is absolutely gorgeous. Not only does it look pretty, but it's also heart energy combined with that divine energy from our angels and guides from Source. The orb begins to rise, and as it floats, I realize it is maintaining that vibratory frequency that connects it to Source, to all that is. At the very center of this orb, a portal opens, and just like a flower opening, it was allowing and receiving energies from above to come in through the heart of this flower and come to us. And at this point, I received a short message. As vibrations move along this wavelength of energy, they flow to Earth. If you are open and willing to accept this healing energy, then with the grace of goodness from the Divine Mother, we allow this to happen. By aligning energies to this most sacred connection, you allow the grace from the realms of light to enter, to heal you, to empower you. You are healed, for you are of the same vibrational frequency of Source. We are all one. I remember tearing up. I've been to meditations before that have been very powerful, but now with this added benefit of being able to see the energy and receive messages, now I understand why they are so powerful. I gave my love, my appreciation, my gratitude for this most beautiful and divine healing energy. When I left the meditation, I felt a little lighter, a little better, a little closer to my angels and guides. I had an appreciation for this group of people and the light that we all share. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to walk through life with light in your heart. Until next time, goodbye.